Today on Gamers Couch,
Shadowrun Crossfire from Catalyst Game Labs.
Hi guys! This is the first episode of the new Board Gaming, Old Board Gaming vlog.
New episode, same old tired.
But you got a nice opener. Made that specially for you. Well, this week what happened? First we split the vlogs into Talk O'Clock and Gamers Couch. That's why all the art stuff is over to Talk O'Clock. Check out those vlogs. We also played a bit. For me, just one round of Shadowrun Crossfire last week because still I'm busy. What did you play other than more rounds of Shadowrun?
We played a round of Machikori, which still is fun.
Although you lost again, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
That's the dice rolling. There's a specific set of dice I have to utilize for that one. I don't want to lie, but yeah, we played one round of Shadowrun Crossfire with you and one round with just two people.
Yep.
Playing all four roles, but
we'll go
talk
into
about
that
later. And
Destiny, a lot of Destiny I remember.
Yeah,
that was more the online stuff.
Well, in terms of video games, Destiny still has us in a very, very tight hold in terms of...
got you by the balls.
Yeah. And it's like everybody is aware of all the flaws of that game and that it's literally grind the same stuff every time again and do stuff, but it's the perfect game for listening to a podcast or talking to your friends. It doesn't really demand a lot. Yes, maybe if you're playing it on the higher difficulty levels, which is actually from a gameplay perspective when it starts to be interesting. At the point where you really have to be careful and think about how to move and strategize how to do stuff against the enemies. But on the normal stuff, you just, And then there's PvP, which is sort of always a lesson in using very foul-mouthed words.
Gamer's Tourette, you know?
Yeah.
That old stuff again.
Yeah, and that reminds everybody that I might be way more competitive than it seems at times.
I never experienced him being competitive, no. He's not divorced to save our marriage once we play something. But then
even if we play something like board game together, there's
you play to win.
There's a moderate amount of smack talk. If I'm playing an online game,
it's worse.
I tend to go full sailor mode.
But the funny thing, that's the same with me. Even with the kind of more the puzzly games that I play, when I play any kind of computer or app games, I'm having Gamer's Tourette's way worse than with board games.
Yeah.
But with board games, it's also bad. So let's hop for the game today. We got the Shadowrun, we got the box, we got the Shadowrun, we got the box. Hey, it fits. Isn't he sweet? You're gonna hate me at one point. So we just got the lid here, because otherwise I would do sports, and that's something I don't do. The box is quite heavy.
It is also a pretty big box.
Yeah.
Which
well, standard gaming box.
First bonus points from me for bring a big box. Don't fill it up entirely, because there will most certainly be expansions out there, and the inlays allow for the new stuff to be put in there.
So me being the Shadowrun noob, I never played it. I was very curious only when I saw the box, just because of the artwork that is on it. I really like the lid, all the different characters, and it's it's kind of
look at the sun.
No, I really like the way the box is made. It's very sturdy, that's a good thing, and also the print on it is very cool. The characters, the artwork are drawn beautifully, so I was really intrigued. Although I don't know did not know the universe before we played.
Which is very, very different from me. I actually, all those friends I still have around are all the friends I used to play Shadowrun with, and we started pretty much first edition, second edition Shadowrun, and played as the game master, played as the player. So we sort of had 2 or 3 guys who primarily were the ones who led the game. And the entire theme and universe is pretty much, it's 2050, so it's in the future, but not too far away. And at the time of playing, so in the 80s and 90s, it was still said that I think 2011 or something like that, that magic comes back into to the world, and that it's a cyclical thing, and that all lore that existed about dragons and monsters is actually true, and that that magic comes back and forth to the world in some kind of Mayan calendar year counting, and obviously sort of going a little bit similar to X-Men, that magic is coming back and also affecting the genes of everybody, so that humans are modified to look like trolls and elves and dwarves. So you have the Dungeons and Dragons Tolkien-esque world combined with, it's 2050, so of course there's a Matrix, and that was called the Matrix even before those movies were out, because it's very cyberpunky. It's very it's almost as if someone said, hey, the stuff Neuromancer, everything that Gibson did, put it together with Dungeons and Dragons Tolkien stuff, and let's make a new world and call that Shadowrun. And in that world, pretty much, you are mostly playing as Shadowrunners. So these are the guys living in the shadows between the big mega corporations, trying to do their dirty work, and they are always going like, you meet your contact person, getting in is easy, getting out is not. And typically that in the role-playing game, that ends with a lot of dice rolling, a lot of shooting. There's books upon books elaborating on the weapons that are available there. There's stuff like cyber technology, so your artificial limbs may be replaced. There's biotechnology, so if you're not happy with a cybernetically enhanced being, you can be a biologically enhanced being. And then there's the entire magic thing. That is also split up into mages and shamans and whatnot. So it's a really rich universe.
I was just about to say, I would actually like that if that would be happening in like
Crossfire?
real life.
Oh, okay.
But without the possibility to like do shitty stuff with it and hurt somebody or ruin humans. I would love to have the ability to have biologically enhanced or cybernetically enhanced bodies. That you just can go to your doctor, to your yearly physical, and say, oh, well, my eyesight's not the greatest.
Yeah, get a new...
Instead of getting glasses, we'll get new eyes.
And not only get eyes, but get eyes that can see thermal optics, or that have infrared or stuff like that. So there's, there's cool stuff in there.
Before we go into the rules, which is his part to explain.
Oh, it's not too difficult.
No, it's that's in every board gaming thing that we ever shot so far, and there are a couple, 33 to be exact. You did the explaining, and that's a good thing. So we just go through the box, what comes with it. Of course, all of the catalyst games in a handbook that you can just look through. What I really like and what I'm definitely gonna read is Fire and Frost, excerpt from upcoming Shadowrun novel. And it's just this thin booklet, and it looks really nice, so I'm definitely gonna have a read.
Yeah, and I guess that sort of, if you're familiar with Shadowrun, that's not news to you, but that is very much different, I think, from other board games or tabletop games. I mean, Shadowrun has that rich history, same as BattleTech or Warhammer, and there are books already out there. I think I used to own close to 40 or 50 novels from Shadowrun, and all those elaborate on the world and bring some really interesting characters in there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a read. I'm gonna take it out of the game box later today, just to put it on my stack of books to read.
But I think that is actually a nice thing to put into your game.
I like it. Then there's of course the rule book. It's not too thick and not too overwhelming like with other games once you open the box and have a first glance. So it's
and the first quarter of the rule book is pretty much just a quick start guide to doing so.
Then we have this book here. It's like
more lore,
it's like 50% of the rule book size-wise, and it says "Welcome to the Sixth World." And I think it's stories.
It's
stories.
It's exactly what I just tried to tell you about what happened from now to 2050.
This is a pretty picture up here. This is pretty. Oh, well done.
It's the Renraku technique. Archaeology.
So that comes also with the game as well as this Shadowrun online pass.
And I'm sorry, but that is already used. So the code is.
I didn't have it in the frame for too long. So even if anybody pauses the video, they won't get your code. So then the box has some of those little
there's
packs there.
Bunch of cards, bunch of markers.
Yeah. And what I also liked, it came with sleeves, with clear sleeves. I really liked that. It's the first time ever that we had a game where it came with the delivery, right?
I haven't seen that before, but that is... I know the intent of this is to sell you on... But having a pack of small teasers in the box for other stuff, either directly be related with the material or with other things like the card sleeves and all that. It's a nice touch, and I really enjoy that. It's almost like that sort of throws me back to when you were smaller, you would buy a video game, and then there's the manual explaining that, but there might also be some reference to other things and saying, hey, look at this or look at that, and sort of trying to see, hey, what else could I get? I mean, yeah, it's the age of the internet, or should I say the Matrix, and all that is available online. But I really like that. So you open the box and then, hey, there's little stuff in there that's I didn't expect. It's nice.
Yeah. What you expect and what also of course comes with the game is the character sheets, and they're printed on two sides, and Daniel will go into what you can do with those and what they mean during the game later. There's also
3 missions.
3 mission cards here. They come with the play and
supplement for the missions.
Yeah. The client and this beautiful enraged dragon.
Or the covert dragon.
I really like the artwork. I'm very, very happy with the look of the game.
And of course, if you are familiar with the lore, the blue one is Dunkelzahn, the surprisingly German dragon living in the US. With
he immigrated.
he actually. Sort of, there was an adventure where he was the first American, not American, but it's UCAS. I don't remember how that territory is called, but he became the first president with his own talk show.
The last thing that's in the box is a bunch of stickers, and now I'm handing it to you for giving an overview how those parts work.
All of these guys have German names. So this is Lofir, the dragon, or the CEO of the German Seda Krupp. So you have your German part for today. Don't spit on the...
No, I won't spit. But I had to, well, make sure that I don't.
The game itself
had to make an effort.
Is, if you glimpsed at the description, it's actually a deck building game. So if you are familiar with Dominion, maybe the Penny Arcade games, there's by now there's a bunch of deck builders out there.
Yeah.
But Dominion sort of was the one that cemented
one of the most famous
and defined the format. and this is no different. What is different is, so you are going on a run. What you're doing first is you choose your mission that you will go on, and those actually come with different difficulty types. So the very first one you're probably going to play, and you're going to play this a lot, is Crossfire. And I don't want to go too much into people complaining about this, but I've seen complaints about people saying, there's only 3 missions in the game, and while I can understand that, that being said, that game would have also been fine just with the Crossfire mission and you adjusting difficulty via other means and doing that. So the game is played in terms of you choose your character, and the other thing that's surprising, as you might see, is you can put your name in there and make notes on the sheet and all that stuff. Yes, this game comes with a certain amount of permanence. You should choose your character and you will put your name down on it, and that will be your character for multiple games, because your character will level up after you have successfully finished one game and be stronger for the next game, which also explains why there's difficulty changes in the missions. And you will be able to survive the later missions with the starting characters, which is an interesting thing because it sort of has you keep playing on that. So after you've decided who are you going to be, the next question is, what are you going to be doing in the game? And for that, let me pick this up. You have to decide on a role you want to play. So you can either be the decker, which is the hacker of the team, or you can be the very potent mage who's going to fling spells at someone. And then there's the faceman and the street samurai. So we have the street samurai here, and where's the face guy there? And the faceman is here. So with that, I've already shown you all the 4 colors that are present in the game, which is black, red, blue and green. And each of your roles starts with 1 card of that color plus 3 additional cards of that color. So the street samurai starts with 4 cards of each, 1 of each color, plus 3 extra black cards. And you can actually see that on the roll. It sort of says that up here. So that is your starting hand of 7 cards for every player, and which is also different from Dominion. You're not playing against each other, you're playing against the game. You're on a run and you are fulfilling your different roles, and you're trying to successfully finish the run or finish the objective of the run. So you have these cards, and what are you going to do with them? Each turn or each round, depending on the mission, you will have to fight obstacles. So there's a really big deck of obstacles, and those are just the level 1 obstacles. And each obstacle you will see, and it shows you, apart from the fluff text and some color alignment that's on there, there's multiple stages up here that have to be fulfilled to beat that obstacle. And this one actually says, at first you have to spend two symbols of any color, then a red symbol, then 2 symbols of any color, then again 2 symbols of any color, then a green one, and then a red one.
And this is a simple mission.
So the way it works, if it's your turn and you have 3 cards on your hand, or depending on your character you might have more or less, you could spend 2 of any of your starting cards to get rid of the 2, and if you also have a red one, you could spend all 3 to get rid of the first 2 stages. And as long as you are able to complete a stage entirely, you can do that, and that is stored with one of these markers, so it is
that you don't forget where you were on your card.
The nice thing for you is you don't have to play this against an obstacle that is facing your side. So what happens? These cards will get dealt out, and everybody will get an obstacle in most cases. and you have to get rid of these obstacles because they will deal damage to you. And if you're getting low on health, you might become staggered and draw less cards and be able to well, do less stuff in the game. And if you're critical, then everybody loses, so you don't want to get hurt too much, and that's the reason why you want to get rid of these obstacle cards. The good thing is you can play your cards against your own obstacle, but also against obstacles of other players. So if you see that someone else has a card in front of him that has a lot of red in here, and you are the player who is playing the face man, so has a lot of red cards, you might help them out getting rid of the obstacle. So the question there is, do you want to start and everybody's sort of trying to get rid of their own obstacle, or do you band together and everybody's focusing fire, so to speak, on a single obstacle to get rid of that? The Crossfire mission itself then says you have to beat 3 rounds of obstacles, 3 seasons, similar, 3 seasons, 3 scenes as in a movie, where you could say, okay, the first round, the first scene is 4 obstacle cards, 1 for each player. The second will be 5, and the third will be 6 then. And once all of those are cleared, you have won the game. And as I said, there's easy obstacles, and there's also no, that's the wrong one. I think they're together. Yeah, and then there's the more challenging obstacles.
Of course, you have 2 bullet holes then in the card.
That have two bullet holes in here, and they're just supposedly a little bit more difficult. Obstacles also have some special effects, like if they're flipped up, everybody has to discard a card, and so on and so on. That sounds difficult, maybe, but
manageable.
Manageable. But to make things worse, you're on a Shadowrun. Things go wrong. So there's another deck called the Crossfire event deck, and essentially one of these cards is turned over each time the starting player of the entire game has his turn, and these are always bad news. Well, I think there's some who are mildly bad news, but most of them are bad news. This one, for example, says, at the start of each turn, the current runner gains 1 new yen, the money currency in the game, and discards 1 card. So you have to lose a card, but you gain a little bit of money. Or what else do we have? Each tech obstacle heals 1 level, so these cards are not your friends. And there's a lot, and each one seems to be different so far, which makes things very varied and exciting, because you never know what's coming up next. Also, once that card is put up and the starting player is on, and it's time to draw the next card, the card on top will get put into the discard pile, and as these cards start up amassing in the discard pile, you might unlock additional conditions. So this one, I guess no one can really read that, but this one says if there are 4 or more cards in the Crossfire discard pile, also, or instead of the actual card effect, something else is happening which is typically way more devastating than that. The same actually also goes for obstacles. So you might have an obstacle that says if this card is flipped over and there are 2 or more cards in the Crossfire discard pile, this card has an additional effect or has an effect at all. So the reasoning behind these is first of all to vary up gameplay, but the other thing is you are on a Shadowrun. You want to get in and get out fast. You don't want to meddle around and
have a cup of coffee and a bit of a chat, maybe.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. The time factor actually makes this game way more exciting on one hand, but on the other hand it could cause gamers Tourette again. It did.
So,
but that's fine.
What you've seen so far is essentially the entire game. The only thing that we've been missing so far is this is a deck building game, so how do you build your deck? There's another deck of cards, surprise, which is called the Black Market, and you will only see a couple of cards from this deck laying out, and these cards come in all the colors that you might already have known and have seen, but typically there's only 6. Was it 6 or 8? I think 6. I seem to recall it was 6.
No, 8. 4 and 4.
Was it 8?
Yeah, 8.
A couple of cards out on the table for you to buy. And as you've heard already, there's money involved. So if you're taking a look at one of these cards, this one here up on the right side says it costs 2 new yen. So at the end of your turn, you draw cards if you have, I think 3 or less cards in your hand.
Yeah.
And if you have money, you may buy a card or several cards, which this is different from a lot of deck building games I've seen. These cards go directly onto your hand. So if you buy a card that allows you to help someone else in a later turn, this is sort of the point where things get interesting.
Yeah.
So this one also has a symbol up on the left. So this is essentially a single red card, which costs 2. But it also has a little text in here that says you can buy a card from the black market. And as I just said, cards go onto your hand. So you can play this card in the play your cards phase and grab another card from the black market to instantly play at the time, which is pretty useful.
The assist part.
Then there's cards, this one, the dog wagon contract, the heavily armed medical team.
Because you always have to have a gun.
So this thing costs 5 yen and actually does no damage. So why would we want to do that? This has a primary effect saying choose a runner. That runner heals 2 hit points. So
which is very helpful.
Very, very helpful. Also, it has an assist property. So if a card says assist, you may play this card on somebody else's turn and contribute with that card to whatever they're doing. And this says, choose a runner, that runner heals 1 hit point and gains 1 red damage. So you can play that on someone else's turn when he's missing just 1 piece of damage or maybe 1 piece of red damage and heal them at the same time.
Yeah. Very helpful.
And then there's also cards like this one. So as you might have already guessed, the Street Smarts is more like a healer sort of thing. Then there's blue. Blue is really good. The mage is really good in dealing burst damage. So there's a lot of cards dealing a lot of damage in a short time. This one is Death Touch. It already deals 2 blue. And X, where X is you reveal the first 3 cards on your deck, and if they're all spell cards, so blue cards, they deal 1 colorless damage. So this card alone can deal 5 damage
in one go.
2 blue and 3 colorless. So yeah, that's pretty badass. The other one who's very good about dealing damage or battlefield control is the Street Samurai, the black card, because he has cards that allow to deal multiple obstacles at the same time, that allow you to rearrange obstacles and pull them away from some player or to stun them. And last but not least, there's the green, the Decker, and as far as I've seen it, the Decker is about drawing cards, but is also like one of the more important guys because he deals all types of damages. Yes, primarily green, but he has a lot of cards that have some added effect where you can choose any other color to deal with that as well. So in video game terms, I guess the carry would be the closest to that one. So you have the DPS guy, the mage, the guy who does really lots of burst damage against a single one. The healer, which is the red one, which also allows you to purchase cards a little bit cheaper at the black market. The Street Samurai, who is also damage dealing, but more about battlefield control in that regard, and then the Jack of all trades, the Decker.
Yeah,
I guess I have everything.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of tokens that come with the game, but it's in total, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 different kinds of tokens, and we already showed you 2. So there's not too much fuzz going on the table, which I like a lot, especially when you play with 4 people.
Yeah.
And you have cups and everything, and not the hugest table in the world, because it's still in the ordering process. So we had one game where we played with 3 players, and we had one game where we had 2 players, but you played 4 decks or 4 decks. And the game is 2 to 4 players.
And I would say straight up.
Now that would be the interesting thing.
Things get more difficult if you have less players. Yeah. So, and the reason for that is if you're just playing with 2, with the rules for less than 4 players, what you have to do is you pick the deck of a roll and start with those 7 cards, but you also have to pick the other roll card for that one. So let's say I want to play the Decker and Street Samurai. I have to choose if I choose. I have to pick the Street Samurai deck or the Decker deck.
But you have both rolls.
Yes.
Still, but you're missing one complete deck, which.
Yes.
With a 3-player game for us, it really
challenging.
Very, very challenging. We were missing one color, and you had quite severe effects by missing one deck.
Yeah. So the order by which obstacles show up, the first obstacle you draw goes to the runner of the same color as the obstacle. So if the first one is a green one, you put that to the person who's playing the Decker roll. Now if you're playing just 2 people and you have the Street Samurai deck in your hand, which only has 1 green card, but get the green obstacle in front of you, which typically requires more green cards to get rid of, that is actually a little bit challenging until you start buying cards from the black market.
Yeah.
But that said, you earn money by defeating obstacles. So either you have...
And you share that money.
Yeah.
You don't go alone.
Yeah. So if you beat an obstacle, what happens is you get it goes around the table. So if an obstacle gives you 4 new yen, you get a new yen, and then from your left everybody gets 1. If it's more than 4, you just continue going around. So if it's 5, you would get 2 for beating it. Everybody gets 1. The issue with just 2 players is you have characters who start with a little bit more money that you can buy a card, but you also have characters who have a little bit more health, sort of the tank damage spongy type of thing. And I think the first game we played as with a Street Samurai deck and the Face deck.
I had black, Stocky had red, and you had green and blue, and you chose which deck?
The blue deck, yeah.
The blue deck, so we were missing the green one.
And as I said, what we learned by now is that the green deck is actually the one that is the most flexible. So if you're playing with less than 4, you might want to make sure that the green deck is included.
Maybe switch it for the red one and leave the red one out.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell, the red deck is nice to have. You might need red cards, but you can sort of splash into red cards playing with any other deck as well, and since most red cards are support cards in terms of heal someone or make the card cheaper or stuff like
something easier, but only slightly.
Yeah. I think I would even go so far the red deck is best played during other people's turns.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be a lot of support effects and all that stuff. But yeah, that's as you might have already figured out, there's a lot of interesting decisions going on, especially when it comes to who's buying what card. Are you going to buy the card that is more beneficial on your turn, or are you going to buy the card because you know that you can help somebody out in the next turn and get rid of an obstacle, or doing some other interesting stuff? Do you want to follow the base color of your deck? So if you're playing the Faceman, do you want to keep grabbing red cards, or do you want to do that with some other character? There's a lot of interesting stuff going in there. So, and this is sort of the base game, and we're just talking about the first mission. And now you can add in a different mission where it is similar in terms of, yes, there's obstacles, but you also have to defeat a dragon, or you have to do some other stuff. There's some really nice gameplay variety in there, and I would say at this point, even without all the rest, what we just here described, is it's a very solid game.
The question for me is, the games you played later, 2 players controlling 4 characters, was that more balanced for the players against the game, or how did the mechanics behave, so to say?
I found it to be easier because we had, at least it felt to me like we had more options. But then again, in all the games we played, we actually got a rule wrong. We played it a little bit more difficult. So
that's so common and so unusual for us.
So the game says the game says the Crossfire event cards are only flipped over on the starting player's turn, and that is always the same player from the start of the game. What we mistook was the game who starts the scene, which is a different player. What would happen if you're playing with 2 people, you might get a round against obstacles without a Crossfire event card out, over time those Crossfire cards are what essentially makes you lose the game. So having an additional round without a Crossfire card out is actually pretty useful. As I said, pretty much, if I compare this to another deck building game, this is really solid. I would play this game. We play and I'm sorry for looking at our shelf, but we're playing the stuff like the Penny Arcade game because it's fun to look at. It has some really nice artwork, and it's just a funny game. But that's not something we play like every week or maybe once a month or once every other month, sort of to keep that fresh. We played a lot of Dominion.
Tons and tons of Dominion.
And that's mostly with 2 players. But that's also one of the things when I said initially being competitive, you can play Dominion without sort of stepping on each other's toes. Yes, you're playing against each other, but
yeah, you can play nicely and just
depending on what,
not buying certain cards. Yeah. What I liked a lot was, so for me this game is a mixture of Dominion, Netrunner, and Android Infiltration. That's what the game felt like to me.
And Sentinels.
Yeah, Sentinels were the heroes, but that was more with the Netrunner actually, because the universes are very similar.
Yeah.
Of Netrunner and Shadowrun. So just like what the characters look like and backstories, blah blah blah. So what I liked was that you have this deck building character, but you play co-op, which is a new combination. We don't have any other deck building games that are co-op.
For the record, we know that games like Pathfinder exist, but it's not out here yet, so we haven't played it. Yes, it's out in English, but it should come out in German at the end of this month. So I guess we just waited till that comes out, and I've already heard things about that game as well. But this seems to be a little bit different here. So
I really liked it. I liked how simple the game was to set up, and how simple it was, and how quick it was to explain the rules. And that the turns of each player is very clean, and you have it on your player card, and you can't really misunderstand a lot. So it's very, it's kind of like that game. You open the box, you quickly flip through the rules, and you start your mission. That you don't have to learn too much up front, or it's very logical, and the way the game is made.
I would say this is also had very few back and forth looking into the menu.
Yeah, you looked once. during our first game.
Still, we got something wrong, but
yeah, but you looked once,
but
and with other games, it's like constantly.
Yeah.
So we play both games. So I like that a lot. So it's actually very high on my liking scale, and once my crazy schedule is over, we're definitely gonna play that a bit more, just the two of us, with core characters. I wanna try that out way more.
So not to be over too gushing about what we like about this game, how do you think the theme is coming through in this one? Did that feel like...
No, like I said, it could have, for me, you could make a Netrunner universe with it. I didn't see too much of the Shadowrun story. There was no big opener like with other games that you play, that you really have to dive into the story, or you have to know the universe.
It's not like Eldritch Horror.
No, it's not. No,
where you have to. So what we didn't do, but that was sort of just for you to understand what we're doing once playing new games, is it's very much more about the mechanics and trying to get a hold on understanding how the gameplay works, and theme comes in later, so to speak. So what we're not doing is we don't flip over an obstacle card and then look at that, hey, yeah, this is a career and we have to fight him, or something like oh no, an aerial combat drone is trying to hit you, which is something in the role-playing game you would sort of make a point of, hey, this is pretty badass, what's going on, and try to imagine what's happening. Also, I think there's fluff text on some of these. Yeah, that
comes later.
The
in later
Crossfire
games.
cards have some fluff text down here. Yeah, but that's something we simply did not pay attention to on our first game. So I have the hope that comes through with new plays, and looking a bit closer at what these cards are actually saying, and then saying, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw a fireball into your face, drone, and then everybody...
I think that will also happen once we start with the permanent stickers on the characters. Once you really get attached to your character and you level it up over certain missions.
I sort of...
I think that...
I didn't address that yet. So this, for me, this is the game Shadowrun Crossfire, and the gameplay that is going on. And that is already enough to sell me on the game. This is fun to play, and I can see
the material is nice, the artwork is nice, the rules are clean and simple, there's a lot of replayability, so check all the things that we like in a game.
And so if you, as I said, you have these character sheets, you enter your name up here and you mark your karma down here. So what are you going to do is, if you have enough karma, there's sheets of stickers, which are probably difficult to read, but what are you going to do with them is you put them onto your character. So you actually put permanent stickers on these character sheets, and each sticker grants your character a new power or some individual trait, like you're starting with an additional card in your hand. Or what else do we have? Some of the early power stuff is, as I said, one card more. Or once a turn you can substitute 2 colorless for a black one when applying damage. So these are either general purpose kind of things that help you out, or these might be things that assist you playing a certain role. Yeah. So if you want to be the most badass decker in the entire game, you can start leveling and skilling your character in that direction. Or you can keep it in a more general way, because you're not forced to play the decker each time you play the character. You can choose a different role each time when starting out. So these start and cost karma, and you earn karma by completing missions. So if you win the first mission, you get 3 karma. If you lose a mission but still make it out alive with everybody, you get at least 1 karma per person, and only if you really fail a mission, then you lose everything. and I'm almost inclined to say it would be a nice thing to do if you really lose a mission, like critical and something like that. That then your character would die and you have some kind of permanent death type of thing. But as you can see, there's lots of stickers coming with the game. They go up to 50. You can actually put a sticker on top of another sticker and replace the ability. And some people might say, yeah, but you can only play this once. You have to play a lot to get through these.
Oh yeah. Hours and hours.
And quite frankly, if that is a problem for you, get online, get the PDF, and get the version where you just make a cross at the thing. I really like this because that sort of makes sure that not only is each gameplay in itself different through randomization over those Crossfire event cards, but your characters are actually different. So this is sort of like, imagine playing a game like Sentinels, but you don't have the power on your Sentinel that you start out with, but you start forming those powers or forming those abilities over multiple games. And
that was actually something I liked about Mice and Mystic, that you got those tokens. We didn't play with that, but if you play campaign, but you had the ability to level up your mouse with those tokens too. So I like that, although we didn't use it as much because we didn't remember which tokens we got with a certain mice.
Because we're old, we don't remember stuff.
Yeah, we don't write everything down. So on a scale of 1 to awesome, how much do you like that game?
I think this gets 3 dragons out of 2.
Okay.
And I'm
awesomely awesome.
I'm interested in seeing there have to be expansions coming down the way.
Just the way the box is made, I'm very sure.
I hope you can see this, but
but this is
there's like lots of space in here for more stuff.
I'm very sure that they're already working on expansions.
Yeah.
It would be a waste if they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Would be very, very
sad. So that's Shadowrun Crossfire, and this was the first and certainly not the shortest episode of Scott.
Well, it's a solid, big strategy, funny game. It's not something like Love Letter that we can explain in 5 minutes.
The one thing coming from the role-playing game that I'm missing here, that hopefully comes with an expansion later down the road, is a rigger character. So that is similar to the Decker. That is similar to the Decker, but instead of hacking systems, a rigger controls vehicles, drones, and all that stuff. Also, I would like to see a rigger for a very simple reason: playing this game with more than 4 people.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
I'm just looking, it's not on the box, at least I didn't see it. How long does that game usually take per mission?
I think it's a...
What did it say?
45 to 60 minutes, somewhere down here. And it says, and this is super professional what we're doing, 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And I would say...
I think that's
30 minutes is accurate if you're failing.
Yeah, that was the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're failing.
But it is if you have the stuff set up, I would say you can easily squeeze in 2 or 3 games in a 2-hour span and happily get that done. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna play that later. The guys are coming over for a gaming night. I'm probably gonna work, but today we have 1 more player, so they can play with 4 players and the full set, all of the old Shadowrun RPG gamers are here.
I just had a friend on the phone and it wasn't clear if he has time or something, and he didn't know about, so I just said, hey, give him a call. I said, so he went on the phone. I said, hey Daniel, how are you doing? And I said, look, today is one of those game playing weekends, and I heard he would say, okay, when, sort of thing, but it didn't go to that point because I was like, last week Shadowrun Crossfire arrived. We're playing this today. We're starting at 4 to 5. I'll be there.
That's, you know. So yeah, we'll see how you guys will win tonight.
Also, I'm also looking forward to playing another round of Lethal League. Mount your friends, and I actually have to find out if I can. I need that guy I was on the phone with. I might need to do his head for Mount your friends.
Okay.
We'll find out. It's the game needs players' heads on the little thingies to make.
And I'm gonna work meanwhile.
Okay.
So now here's all the stuff. Let's close the box and finish this lovely vlog. And you can say some nice words while I...
I'm sorry. Yeah.
He didn't get it.
Yeah, so we can do the typical YouTube sign off. Like and subscribe. No.
Did you? Did you? No. We're gonna see you next week on Sunday with a new Gamers Couch, with a new game, and let's see what it's going to be. Which game we're...
Goodbye.
We don't know yet. Goodbye, Dida. If you have any questions, anything, let us know. Otherwise, enjoy. And see you later on the other vlog. Bye.
Bye.